Human beings have many unique qualities when compared to other species. One of them is the ability to suffer regularly. If you remove human beings from the creation and look at everything else, you will not see much suffering at all, that too on such a regular basis. Have you observed this? If you look at plants, animals, everything in nature appears to be a rejoicing life. But somewhere something has gone wrong for us. Everything else in creation is different to human beings in that they haven't got a choice but to be happy and rejoice life. They are entirely governed by nature. Say, for example, animals eat only when they can eat. They sleep only when they have to sleep, and they mate only when they have to mate. But for human beings, God has given them something called choice. And you can use that choice to attain to very high levels in life, or you can put yourself down and get into ignorance. Look at all the everything in nature. So they cannot, even if they want to, break the law of nature. But we constantly do that. And we were not like this. When we were born, we were one with the creation. Look at a 6-month-old or a 1-year-old baby. What does it need? Its needs are minimal. It is happy in its own company. It is not seeking for attention, for money, for friends, for respectability, but still it is happy. It eats, sleeps, enjoys life, is interested in everything in life. It is so open to life. Nowhere in nature there is competition amongst the same species. Yes, maybe a little while for mating and for food. Apart from that, once the basic needs like survival is taken care of, they are content. They never get bored also. Have you ever seen a cow or a buffalo getting bored of doing the same thing every day throughout their life? It is blissful doing what it wants to do. So that is how this life is. It goes on like that. But we get bored, which is a blessing. So the choice that is given to us is to elevate ourselves. But if you don't use it, you can also go in the opposite direction. Yeah. And we are bound by another thing, and that is called as time. For everything outside human beings, there is no concept of yesterday or tomorrow. There is no calendar at all. The only time that is available is now. They don't think about past. They don't plan for the future. They live here because that is how they are programmed. But as human beings, we always remain bound by the clock. If you look around, that which gives you maximum stress in your life is your clock. And that which determines your life is also your clock. Oh, it is time to have breakfast. It is time to get up. It is time to sleep. Your alarm tells you when you should get up, not your body, not your intelligence. And see how we are chasing time all the time. So, When we were born, we were blissful, but as we slowly grew up, our needs became more and our identity changed. We almost had no identity at all. But then somebody gave you a name, somebody gave you a race, somebody gave you a nationality, gave you a passport. They gave you a God as well. And we held on to it as real. Slowly, slowly, we forgot our true nature. And then we absorbed all the imposed identity as our true identity. And that's where the problem began. Now, this is reversing that journey of actually finding out who am I? Am I really this? What I think I am? Or is there something else to my existence? And that's where Tattva Bodha is very helpful. And that's where the scriptures are very helpful as well. When we live our life in ignorance, which is assuming unreal as real, or not a true identity as your own identity, that leads to bondage, and bondage leads to suffering. How do you overcome suffering? How do you see? Pain is there in every species. Pain is inevitable, but suffering, you make it more for yourself. So the scriptures give 4 ways to overcome misery. Now, I don't want you to write down anything, just focus. We'll give you the recordings. When you see, listen to it again, then if you want, you can make notes. Now, just be with what is happening. Now, this is all very simple. It is a very obvious aspect of our own life. Just allow it to sink into you. So when we are not happy, what all do we do to overcome? The first thing which most people do is seek pleasure. You try to forget your pain through pleasure, isn't it? That is why there is so much entertainment around. All the sensory pleasures are your effort to run away, to escape from the distress or the misery or the disturbance you are going through. For a little while, those pleasures will give you some solace, some relief, but then you are back to where you were. But then you are under the impression that my joy is there. So you go back to it. And then you keep on going again and again. You get a little joy and then you come back. Again you go because you don't know anywhere else to go. The first outlet for somebody to come out of their misery is seeking pleasure. But pleasure tires you even more. When you are more tired, your clarity is even more disturbed. You start seeing things even in a much darker way. Because there's not enough energy in you to look at things in a very bright and clear. The next step you take is towards achievement. To get some success, you divert your energy into attaining something. You make a goal. Oh, I want to earn this much. I want to get to this position in my career. I want to get to this post. And then put all your energy there so that all these distracting things drop off. So you run behind success. That is, a slightly higher effort is needed to achieve success. But you have seen even successful people remain restless. They don't know what is happening. They thought when they reached a particular level, then everything would be very smooth. But then they have a new set of challenges, new set of adjustment problems. They don't know what is happening. This is what I thought. I worked for 20 years for this. What is happening now? And then they try to do something different. We've seen a lot of people, big entrepreneurs, just leave everything, come back to small villages, start small schools, do some farming, involve in charity activities, selfless work, try to reach out to people. Now you have come out of me and mine. I'm trying to find some meaning in somewhere else. And in these three aspects, when you seek either pleasure or success or service, there is still duality, me and you, me and something else. And Western psychology has only gone this far. It has only said these are the only three ways human beings can try to seek happiness. But then the scriptures give a fourth way. They say, find the meaning of life. What is this all about? Question everything. Right now, we are conditioned to accept everything the way it is. Isn't it? You look around and just follow what everybody else is doing. Everybody went to school, so I will also go to school. Everybody took a job, I will also take a job. Everybody is earning or wanting to earn more and more money, I will also do that. Everybody is marrying, I will also marry. So you are not questioning what is happening, you are just taking it as that is how it is. When you question, why is this like this? What is happening in my life? Is this all there is to life? Or is there something more? Is it all just eating, sleeping, having a family, going out on holidays and coming back? Is that all? Is there something more to life? If that is all, if it was, why am I not contented in life? Why am I still restless? When these questions start appearing, then something significant happens. Then you start understanding yourself. These four steps are called as Kama, Artha, Dharma and Moksha. Kama is what? Seeking pleasure. Artha is seeking success. Dharma is being selfless, reaching out, looking after. And Moksha is seeking meaning. What is this all? And in that seeking, you become free from the bondage, free from things that are binding you in life. And that's where Tattva Bodha is going to help you to understand who am I, understand where am I going, what is this life about, what is this creation, what is this bondage, what is karma, how to be free from karma, and who is it who is free from karma, how does he appear, is this all possible to me, how to go about this. So when you look at the scriptures, in the Indian scriptures, there are four main aspects. They are called Shruti, Smruti, Purana and Itihasa. Shruti is that which was heard, which was never written, was never supposed to be written. So the rishis or the enlightened people in their states of meditativeness, they just downloaded it from the space and then they transferred it. So all the Vedas come under Shruti. Then Smruti. Smruti is what was written, what was remembered and written down. All became Smruti. Like we have Manu Smruti. Manu wrote down a conduct, a code of conduct saying that in a family, what is the role of the husband? What is the role of the wife? In a society, what is the role of a king? What is the role of this person? What are the four varnas? How should each class behave? So whatever is written down becomes Smruti. Smruti means memory. You listen, you remember, and you write down something so that it will be beneficial. Then Purana. Purana is all about devotion. It's a devotional text. And Itihasa is history. Is factual representation of what actually happened. So that you can relate and not commit the same mistakes or learn from the other people's wise ways and adopt them. So Ramayana and Mahabharata are called the Itihas. Okay? Shruti, Smruti, Purana and Itihas. And Shrutis are nothing but the Vedas. In the Vedas, there are two aspects. One is called the Karma Kanda, other is called the Gnana Kanda. You don't have to listen too intensely to this. If you don't get it, that's fine. It's good to have an idea about this. Okay. So Gnana Kanda, Karma Kanda means that part of the Vedas which involve actions that bring prosperity in life. And Jnana Kanda is that part of the Vedas that take you towards liberation. So depending upon what is your attitude in life, they call the person who gets engaged in Karma Kanda as a Grihastha, as a householder, and a person who gets engaged in liberation activity as a sannyasi. But these are interchangeable. These are not fixed. These are only indicative. You can do both. You can be in the karma kanda and do actions that reduce your karma and thereby bring up the good karma in you, which brings prosperity in you. Or you can go beyond karmas and attain freedom. That is the jnana. In the jnana kanda, there are three main things. They are Upanishads, Brahma Sutras, and Bhagavad Gita. These are the three main aspects of the Jnana Kanda. All these are aimed towards taking you towards liberation. However, when a student first comes to a master, he can't give him the Brahma Sutras. They are very difficult to understand as well as to implement in life. So what they give is they give what's called as an introductory text. Like, when you go join college, what do they do? They give you a syllabus. The syllabus has one line about each topic. And then as the course opens up, each topic you expand and you start studying. Yeah. So a syllabus is called as a prakarana grantha or an introductory text. So Tattva Bodha is such an introductory text. So when the disciple comes to the master with the desire to become free, he says, look, this is your syllabus. You have to go through this to actually become liberated. I will quickly tell you what is all this. No, you sit and contemplate on it. When the disciple sits and contemplates on each aspect of it, the prakarana becomes bhashya. Bhashya is a dissertation, like a thesis, like a synopsis. And then he realizes, oh, this is what it is. This is what it is. So this is a bit of a background to how the scriptures are arranged. And the scriptures are essential because they provide a clear guidance to you as to how to go about. Yeah. So quickly I will show you the slides so it becomes easier for you. This is the Prakarana Grantha and the Bhashya. Now we will come to the Tattva Bodha. So what is Tattva Bodha? So it has two aspects. One is Tattva, other is Bodha. Tattva means principle. Tattva also means the basic element. In your periodic table, you've got all the elements. Those are called as tattvas. It also means a principle. The principle that governs everything, that is a part of everything, is called tattva. And also the building block of the universe is also called tattva. So the smallest aspect as well as the biggest aspect, both are called tattva. And this inquiry into what is tattva, what is this universe, what am I, is called as tattva vichara or inquiry into truth. And when this inquiry happens as a teaching between a master and a disciple, it is called Tattva Bodha. Bodha means, Bodhana is teaching. When the master sits with the disciple and teaches him, answering questions, clearing doubts, it is called as Bodha. So Tattva Bodha is a teaching of the inquiry into truth, of the Tattva Vichara. And what is the purpose of Tattva Bodha? The purpose of Tattva Bodha is to take you towards liberation, to free you in this life. When would you like freedom? You will only want freedom when you acknowledge that you are bound. If you are in a jail and you are happy living inside the jail, then you don't want freedom. Only when you feel, oh, this is so suffocating, I'm so limited, I'm restricted in so many ways, I've got so many obligations, when am I going to be free from all this? When that desire comes in you, for somebody for whom that desire has come, for him Tattva Bodha is the root. Otherwise, this is not a knowledge for just information. Don't use this, oh, I've learned something new as well. No, Gurudev says, knowledge that does not liberate you is only a burden. We already have so many burdens in our life, so don't make this another burden. So, when you have that intensity, when you have that intense desire in you to, I need to break all these shackles which hold me, and then experience what is freedom, then Tattva Bodha gives them. And freedom is not something which is like superhuman or something very rare. It is very common. Every night when you go to sleep, you experience moksha. It is impossible to rest without experiencing it. And even when you are awake, there are times, Gurudev gives this very beautiful example that when on the last day of exam, when you come back to home, how do you feel? That is moksha. Or when your weekend starts, how do you feel? That is moksha. Oh, tomorrow no work. Oh, tomorrow I don't have to wake up early. That is a sense of, oh, I've got all these obligations which are not there, at least for a short period of time. And when you are able to extend this state of mind as a part of your life, then you are free. So this is where Tattva Bodha will take you, will guide you. You have to walk there anyway by yourself. So the master first starts with an invocation. What they say? Vasudevendra Yogindram Nattva Gnana Pradam Gurum Mumukshunam Hitarthaya Tattva Bodho Vidhiyate. He explains 3 attributes of his own master and says Vasudeva. Vasudeva is one who has mastered the prana, the energy. You see, when the energy is high, you are a different person. The energy is low, you are a different person. Somebody whose energy is always high and is focused. When the energy is high and unfocused, it becomes distress, restlessness. When the energy is high and focused, then there is clarity. Vasudeva is that person who has mastered the prana. Yogindra. Yogindra is a perfect yogi. Gnana Pradam, one who is also the source, a treasure of knowledge. So he gives 3 attributes for the Guru. One who lives in high prana, one who is a perfect yogi, very balanced person, and one who is the source of knowledge. To this Guru, he bows down and says, I have received this knowledge from you. Now I want to share it with a mumukshu, mumukshunam hitarthaya. To a student who is desirous of liberation, I am sharing this with him. Tattva bodho vidhiyate. Now I thus enunciate, discuss, start the teaching of Tattva Bodha. And why is this essential? Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampanna Adhikarinam Moksha Sadhana Bhutam Tattva Viveka Prakaram Vakshyamaha. Tattva Viveka is the inquiry into truth, as we already said. Moksha Sadhana Bhutam. What does it do? It takes you towards liberation. Moksha Sadhana. I am now going to enunciate this knowledge of the self or the inquiry into truth, which is going to take my mumukshu, my student, towards liberation. And I'm going to do it now because he is qualified. Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampanna. He is qualified by having the 4 essential qualifications to listen to this knowledge. What are the 4 qualifications? That is the first chapter of Tattva Bodha. Before coming to the four qualifications, we will look at what is the benefit of Atma Jnana, or the knowledge of the self. The purpose is to create freedom. But what are the other things also it does? There are 5 benefits the scriptures recommend. Okay? The first benefit is called Jignasa Nivrutti. Means it quenches your curiosity. The second one is Aghata Nivrutti. It acts as a shock absorber. You know, we are so easily thrown off in our lives, off our center. We easily get distracted and disturbed. A few words from somebody is good enough. Somebody smiles at you or does not smile at you, that is good enough for you to feel upset. Somebody says a few things, or somebody does not say a few things. Somebody spends time with you, somebody does not spend time. All these things are good enough for you to go off balance and feel upset. Whereas the knowledge will act as a shock absorber and prevent you from getting the jerks of the events of life. See, small events will upset us. Forget about the bigger events. You see, we are now going through a crisis this whole year. How much time it has taken for us to come to terms with it. And see how much stress it has created in the world and amongst people. So the knowledge will act as a shock absorber. Aghata means shock. Aghata nivritti. Karpanya nivritti. Karpanya means distress that the event produces. An event does not leave a shock, but also it leaves a trail of distress behind. You keep on brooding over it. Oh, this happened. This should not have happened. Why is this happening like this? Why is this not improving? All these things. It's called Karpanya. And the knowledge of the self relieves you of the Karpanya or the distress as well. Then it gives you 2 things. Vidyananda Prapti. Vidya is knowledge, true knowledge. Ananda is bliss. So when the knowledge of the self, of the Tattva Bodha dawns in you, there is clarity because of the knowledge. There is joy because of you realize the ignorance. Oh, this is what I was worrying about. And Dakshata Prapti. As long as we live in the world, we have to deal with people. And people come in all forms, shapes, sizes, and characters. There is no escape. And what do you do with them? You need a skill to manage them. And that skill comes through the knowledge of the self, which says, okay, oh, this person is like this, maybe I have to do this. Oh, this person is like this, maybe I have to deal with this way. Being sensitive to your surroundings and being aware of how things are turning around. That also the knowledge of the self provides. So these are the 5 benefits of Atma Jnana. What are they? Jignasa Nivritti, which is removing the curiosity or quenching or answering your questions. Then freedom from shock, acting as a shock absorber, relieving the distress, bringing clarity, knowledge and joy, and bringing the skill to deal with the world. Now we come to the 4 qualifications. What are these 4 qualifications? What are the criteria? You know, when you apply for a job, they say essential criteria. If you have these, you can apply. In the same way in Tattva Bodha, it says essential criteria is these 4. When you have this, then I can proceed and tell you. To go to the silence course, the criteria essential, you have to have done happiness program. Otherwise, you can't jump there. And to come here as well, I'm assuming all of you have done the silence program at least once. Huh? Nobody has sneaked into it. Okay. So the 4 qualifications. What are these 4 qualifications? Sadhana Chatushtayam Kim, the disciple asks. What are the 4 qualifications? And the master replies, Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivekaha, Iha Mutrartha Falabhoga Viragaha, Shamadhi Shatka Sampattihi, Mumukshatvam Cha Iti. These are the 4 qualifications, 4 criteria you have to tick. Viveka, Vairagya, Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti, and Mumukshatva. Yes, I know you are saying, oh, I've heard this before. Yes, you have heard this before. Now we are going to delve into it in a bit more methodical way. Then the student asks, Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivekaha Kaha. What is Viveka? What is Nitya? What is Anitya? Nitya is that which is eternal, that which is unchanging. Anitya is that which is temporary, that which is changing. The ability to differentiate, to discriminate between that which is non-changing and that which is changing, that which is temporary and that which is permanent is Viveka. No? We are all sitting in a room, you are all sitting in a room. Just look in your room, look around and see what is Nitya and what is Anitya in your room. There are so many things in your room. You are there, the furniture is there, the device through which you are hearing is there. There are so many other things, the walls are there of the room. All this is Nitya or Anitya. They all have an expiry date. Yes, at some point they are continuously degrading at different paces, but they are changing constantly, isn't it? All of this is some ways changing, and one day it will all go. Look at all the big palaces and castles which were there in all grandeur. Now they are all in ruins. So at some point, everything drops, all that you see here. Yeah, isn't it? But there is also something in the room you are sitting which is not changing. What is that? Are you aware of this? What is it that is not changing in this room? It is this space. This space has been there all the time. Was there a time when this space was not there? It was there even before the walls were built. When this house falls down, then also this space will be here. So that which is so obviously around is Anitya. That which stays there as a silent witness is Nitya. And it is from this Nitya, all the Anitya comes and goes. Are you getting what I'm saying? So the definition that Master gives here is Nityastu ekam Brahma tad vyatiriktam sarvam anityam. Brahman is the only eternal thing. If you leave that, everything else is temporary, everything else is transitory. Knowing this is Viveka. Ayameva Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivekaha. This is the only thing you need to know. That is all Viveka is. We'll look at it a slightly different angle, changing and non-changing. See, what is changing? Your body is changing, yeah? You all have the photographs when you were 2-year-old, when you were 10-year-old, when you were 20-year-old. Can you recognize yourself from that photograph to what you are today? You have changed. So this body is changing, it is Anitya. Your thoughts are changing. Your desires are changing. Your emotions are changing. Your moods are changing. Your relationships are changing. Your jobs are changing. Your status is changing. Everything is changing. There is something which is not changing. What is it? That which is observing the change. That which is seeing all this change. Isn't it? See, yesterday one of my cousins was having his birthday. So I was telling him, see, I still remember the day when I went with my sister, which is his mother, to the hospital when she was in labor pain, when she was crying and screaming, and in half an hour he was born. And I remember it very well because it was the day before independence. Day before Independence Day, he was born. So I remember it very clearly. So I said, oh, it's so fresh in my memory. How long ago was it? 37 years ago. So you say, oh, you have grown 37 years, but you never feel that you have grown old by 37 years. Isn't it? Something in you never grows old. Something in you is always young. That is Viveka. That is Nitya. That is eternal. So there are two aspects to Viveka. The first aspect is ability to discriminate between what is temporary and what is permanent. The second is to be able to hold on to the permanent and to let go of the temporary. All problems in our life is because we have let go of the permanent and we are holding on to the temporary. And when you are able to change that, when you are able to move the shift to being attached to the permanent and being able to let go of the temporary, then you are in Viveka. Are you getting this? Bondage is attaching yourself to the temporary. Freedom is attaching yourself to the permanent. That is all it is. If you can make this one transition in life, you have got it. So this is Viveka. Then he says, Vairagya kaha, Viragaha kaha, Iha Swarga Bhogeshu Icharahityam Viragaha. Iha Swarga Bhoga. Bhoga means pleasure. Ability to drop the craving for pleasure either in this world or in any other world is Vairagya. See, the master does not say not enjoying pleasure is Vairagya. This is how it has been wrongly understood. The understanding is Vairagya means you should not enjoy anything. You should not have luxury. You should not have anything nice in life. You should not eat something tasty. No, that is not Vairagya. Vairagya is not having a craving for it. Somebody gives you something nice to eat it. If it is not there, don't go looking for it. When pleasure presents itself in this life, enjoy it. When money is there, enjoy it. When fame is there, enjoy it. When success comes, bask in it. But don't run behind it. Don't hanker for it. Don't crave for it. The craving is lack of Vairagya. Being able to enjoy without the feverishness and not running behind it is Vairagya. For most people, the only joy or a major joy comes from sensory pleasures. The sensory pleasures give a transient but a definite joy. But because it finishes so quickly, you run back to it again. You go to your restaurant, eat, overeat, come back home and say, oh, I had too much today. In 3 days, again, you get the desire to go back to the same restaurant. Isn't this true? The pleasures are all like this. You have your cup of tea in the morning, you drink, you feel okay. For a few hours, then the mind says, can I have one more cup, please? So this is lack of Vairagya, where there is a craving. Vairagya is lack of feverishness towards pleasures. Lack of craving is Vairagya. And Vairagya comes from a sense of abundance. It is always there. I can get it. Craving comes when you feel, oh, I may not get it. I have to take it now. I have to grab it now. That's when the Vairagya comes. Vairagya comes from a sense of lack. From a sense of abundance. Lack of Vairagya is a sense of lack. Yeah? So this is Vairagya. What? Iha Swarga Bhogeshu Icharahityam. Being free from feverishness for any desires is Vairagya. You can have desires, but don't be feverish. That is the difference between a desire and a sankalpa. In a sankalpa also you make a desire, but then you are able to let go, drop the desire. But in a desire, you hold on to it tight. That holding on makes you weak. Shamadhi sadhana sampattihi ka shama dama uparama titiksha shraddha samadhanam cha iti. There are 6 wealths. Shamadhi shatka sampatti they are called. So what are these? Shama, Dama, Titiksha, Uparama, Shraddha and Samadhana. And now the student asks, Shamaha kaha? What is Shama? Mano Nigraha Shamaha. Ability to have a control over your mind, to regulate your mind is Shama. It can be called a sense of tranquility and equanimity with which you deal with life. You can either deal with life in a panicky situation or you can deal with it in a calm situation. Okay, this is what it is. You are going to the airport, there is a traffic jam. You are already late when you started. You can either say, okay, what can I do? Either you can accept it and think about options, or you can say, oh, start blaming the government, start blaming the person who did the accident, start blaming your driver, start blaming your husband or wife who took 10 extra minutes to get into the car. That is lack of Shama. When you have Shama, you say, okay, this is how it is right now. What can we do? Shama is Mano Nigraha. Not allowing the mind to take over your life is Shama. Damaha kaha. Chakshuradi Bahyendriya Nigraha. The external sense organs, the 5 external sense organs, having a say over them is Damaha. You have had a meal, you are full, and somebody says, this is a nice sweet, I brought it for you. You can either say, oh, I'm okay. Or you can say, oh, I've not eaten this for a long time. And then you will never stop at one anyway. Oh, this is so nice. So that is lack of Dhamma. Yeah? So all the senses, when you say that, I think I've had enough. I think it's time for the senses to rest. That is having Dhamma. When there is no Dhamma, then you keep on abusing your senses, keep on abusing this body. And know that every time you enjoy or you get into a sensory pleasure, you lose prana. It drains you even more. That pushes you much more into the tamasic aspect of existence. So Dhamma is what? Chakshuradi Bahyendriya Nigraha. Having a say over the senses, the external senses. Uparamaha kaha. Swadharma anushtanameva uparamaha. Uparama is being content with what you have been given. The mind always tells you joy is in something which is not there with you right now. Uparama is the opposite, saying that, oh, I've got so much with me right now. There is so much to be happy. If not anything, I've got this body which is healthy. I've got ears with which I can hear. I've got eyes with which I can see. I've got a house where I can live. I've got a family to call my own. This is Uparama. Oh, so much is there. Somebody is looking after me. Being happy with what you have right now is Uparama. Titiksha ka. What is Titiksha? Shitoshna Sukha Dukkadi Sahishnutvam Titiksha. Titiksha is the ability to go through the opposites willingly, without resistance. Generally, we want to hang on to the pleasures and want to run away from the pain. But when you are able to look and say, well, this is also transitory, that is also transitory. This is also part of life, that is also part of life. Okay, let me go through it. So what? Krishna says in the Gita, Agamapa, anitya. They come and go. Agamapa. They come, they go. They are anitya. Shitoshna sukadukkada. Tam titikshasva bharata. Arjuna, forbear. You can't escape. It will come, it will go. And you have got the strength. You will be never given a challenge which you can't surmount. Just stand up to it. The standing up to life, the challenges of life is titiksha. Willingly, without resistance, without grumbling and moaning. If you have got no escape, we might as well accept and stand up to it properly, isn't it? You see, I like to cook, but I don't like to clean. But without cleaning, you can't cook again. So what do? So you have to clean. So when you clean the vessels, have the titiksha. Oh, okay. You can moan and say, oh, I have to clean. Or you can say, okay, that's fine. He is also there. So titiksha is, see, people go and run marathons, climb mountains, do all this. Why? This is to awaken the titiksha in you. You go through the difficult phase of life willingly, so that when really life throws challenges at you, you can say, well, I have done this before. I have gone through pain before. I have gone through uncertainty before. And I have come out of it. I can come out of this also. So this is titiksha. What? He gives two physical and two mental aspects. Shitoshna sukha dukkada. Shitoshna means hot or cold, being okay with it. Sukha dukkada, pleasure or pain, saying, okay, let me go through it. That is titiksha. Shraddha kidrushi. Guru Vedanta Vakyadishu Vishwasaha Shraddha. When you put yourself through something which you know very well, it is belief. When you put yourself through something which you don't know much about at all, that is Shraddha. You have something inside you says, I think this is good for me. I trust this person. I trust what he says. What he says, I think is for my better. I don't know what are the contents, but I would like to go and sit there. That is Shraddha. I trust my Guru, I trust my master, and if he says something, I will just do it, because I know he always has my best intentions. I trust God, because God had no reason to bring me into this world to torture me. He wants me to be happy, and whatever he is doing is only for my benefit. Having this conviction is Shraddha. Guru Vedanta Vakyadishu Vishwasaha. Having this unshakable faith in the master and the words of the scriptures is Shraddha. Samadhanam kim? Chitta ekagrata samadhanam. Samadhana is the ability to focus. When you are able to let go of the distractions of life, then ability to focus comes automatically. Why our attention span is so low? Because we are so easily distracted. There was a mystic called Gurdjieff in Paris. He used to give a test to all the people who would come to learn. He used to give him a clock and say, a watch. Look at the second, the second hand which moves in the clock, and say, I want you to look at it for 1 minute without allowing any thought to interrupt you. You should be 100% with the second hand of the clock for 1 minute. You go and try this experiment today after you finish the class. You will see by 5-6 seconds a thought will come. That is a distraction. That is inability to have samadhana. Oh, I have to do this, I have to do this. Just imagine the first 5 minutes when you wake up in the morning. Suddenly the whole world drops on you. Oh, this. Okay, I'm woken up now. Let me have an attention to my breath, to my body. Let me experience the sunlight. All this will go to the background. When that is there, that is samadhana. When you are able to say, okay, I will take this one step. First thing you want to look at your WhatsApp as soon as you wake up. That is lack of samadhana. Not able to, your focus is only on WhatsApp, not anything else. So samadhana is Chitta ekagrata, to be able to say, okay, until I get up, I've been to the bathroom, I've done my asanas and all, I'm not going to look at the phone. It can stay there, it can wait. So samadhi with the ability to focus. This is the Shat Sampatti. Shama, Dama, Titiksha, Uparama, Shraddha, Samadhana. Mumukshutvam kim, moksho me bhuyat iti icha, etat sadhan. Moksho me bhuyat iti icha. I want freedom, this desire. One who has, he is a mumukshu. That quality is mumukshutvam. I want to be free. Even the great Adi Shankara, who completely had an opposite view to Buddha. Buddha said life is suffering. Adi Shankara said life is bliss. Even person who advocated bliss throughout in Bhajagovindam says, Iha samsare bahu dustare krupaya pare pahe murare. He says, this world is too suffocating, my dear. Please take me out of it. So when that happens in you, that, oh, why is this like this? I need to break free. Then that intense longing to be free is called mumukshatvam. And these are the 4 qualifications. This is still the prologue. This is still the 4 words the master is giving. He still not started the knowledge of the self. He is saying, have you got all these qualifications? If you have, only then you come to the next class. So these are the 4 Etat Sadhana Chatushtayam. These are the 4 qualifications, 4 criteria you have to fulfill. And when you fulfill, what happens? Tataha Tattva Vivekasya Adhikarino Bhavanti. Adhikari means qualified. Sampanna means fulfilled. When you fulfill these 4 criteria, you become qualified to listen to the Tattva Vichara. What is truth, the reality of the self, the knowledge of the self. You become eligible when you have these 4 qualifications, when you are qualified. You know, if you have to treat patients, you have to become a doctor. You can't say, I've stayed with a doctor, I will treat patients. You have to be qualified. For that, you have to go through the process of training. This is what all our sadhana we do. All our silence course, all that we do is this. And you look at yourself, you have all these things in you. You have Viveka as well. You know what is true, what is not true, what is real, what is not real. But have you got the strength to put your focus on the real? That you have to find. And now you know what is Vairagya. You have some Vairagya, isn't it? See, when we were children, you would cry if somebody snatched our toy. But now we are able to let go. How? Because that Vairagya is there in us. We are able to let go of things. There is no feverishness for toys or chocolates or small little things anymore. Yes, we have got bigger attachments now, that is different. But we had that Vairagya, so we are able to overcome that. Then we have all the 6 wealths to some extent. And then you are here, you already became a mumukshu. Yeah. So these are the 4 qualifications. Sadhana Chatushtaya. Now you are qualified to ask the next question, who am I? That we will see in the next session. Okay. So what we will do is Sahanau Bhunattu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhat bhavet. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti. Jai Gurudev.